I know many of you have been waiting for this because I've been waiting for this, and it's going to be a buckle up show. How you doing? By the way, I'm going to get to that here in a minute. We are powered by our friends at BetUS. I hope everyone had a spectacular January 1st yesterday. I hope everybody had a fantastic J1. A lot of pretty decent bowl games going on. Not so much so for the national championship playoff games. Those weren't and have not been very entertaining. Well, the Chick-fil-A Bowl was, with Arizona State coming back on Texas. Then again, Texas, I think, is overrated, but we'll see how far they end up going. But I hope everyone had a absolutely fabulous day yesterday, and everyone had a safe New Year's. I gotta start this off by saying thank you. I think his name was Joshua. Thank you very much. He sent one of the coolest videos tonight, 37 years ago. I played in a national championship game, one of many, against Penn State. It's the most watched game in the history of college football. Yes, we lost. Testaverde threw 5 picks. We had 7 turnovers. We held them like 150 yards in total offense, gave up 7 first downs and lost. I led my team in tackle, and I opened the game that night with a sack on John Schaefer. About a 15-yard sack in front of 100 million people. President Reagan was there. The whole thing, man. I mean, it was the reason I bring this up, and I want to thank Joshua for doing that. It was really the first national championship game that was ever constructed by the bowl games because they moved it off of January 1. It was the first time it was ever moved off of January 1. And I think the reason that they could have done that was because we were both independent at the time. Penn State and Miami were, we were independents, and that's kind of why they were able to put this game together. Sunkist came to us in Penn State and said, why don't you put this game together and put this national championship game together? So we played it. NBC aired it. Bob Costas was on the call with these guys. It was really a big deal. It was like a Super Bowl atmosphere. I mean, I've never been around a bowl game that's been anything like it that night. And since I've covered a ton of national championship games, I don't ever remember a night like that. I mean, like I said, it was about 100 million people that watched that. It was all over. Every television set, they had like 30 shares. It was one of the most viewed games, not just in college, but all that year in 1987. So it was 37 years ago. Obviously, it was like one of my greatest moments, and yet one of my greatest defeats was in that moment. I mean, crazy. Penn State goes on to win the national title. We would come back the next year and win the national title after dropping that game. But Jimmy Johnson says it in his book, Swagger, that was the most disappointing loss in his entire coaching career, and he became a better coach after that night. Psychotic night. I'm going to put a video together a little bit later on, and I'm going to post it over at my X account on Dan Silio's show. We're going to do a little bit more about that later on today. So, again, I appreciate everybody. Who, in your opinion, is better than Bond this year? Defensive Player of the Year. Don't see anyone else close, honestly. Q, Mulata, Pro Bowl snubs, proud of Juergens. That was one of my predictions. Remember, Zander? I said that Cam Juergens would be named to the Pro Bowl, and he has. I think it was going to be an upgrade, or I thought it was going to be an upgrade, and it was. And he was named the Pro Bowl to the NFC. This is what we're going to do today. The National Football Show's very first annual installment of the Big Silz All-Pro team. I have my All-Pro team. I did it this morning. And this is the very first National Football Show Big Silz All-Pro team that we're going to unveil a little bit later on, probably somewhere in the 3 o'clock Eastern hour. We'll do something there, and we'll throw that out. The 2025 NFL Pro Bowl team, according to Big Silz. Let's go Buckeyes. Buckeyes look pretty good, but I will say this to you, flexing. I don't give a shit what Herb Street does in those broadcasts. You lost to Michigan. You win a national championship, I got to tell you, there's still going to be a shitty taste in your mouth that you got beat by a Michigan football team. And anytime you lose to a rival, I'll give you one. In 83, we won the national title. We got beat 28-3 in the opener by Florida. Something just never seemed right about that national title team in 1983 when we won the national title because we got beat by Florida. Back then, we played Florida and Florida State every year, so it was an annual rival. There just didn't seem anything right about that. Would be like Alabama winning the national championship and losing to Auburn. Okay? Hey, fuck you, Silz, but you're right. Hey, man, I'll tell you what, Chip Kelly's going to get a job. I don't know where it's going to be, college or pro, but he's going to get a job. He's doing a whale of a job as the offensive coordinator in Columbus. He's going to get a big job somewhere. I don't know. He's reinventing himself a little bit in Columbus. He's going to get a job. Okay? Okay? He's going to get a job. Okay? Hit the like button. Guys, I appreciate it. So we're going to do our all-pro team. I got to use the word soft here in a minute. Remind me of that word, soft, okay? But I also have to throw this out to you. You know, Zander got ahead of me a little bit when we were talking a little bit prior to the show. But on that Pro Bowl team, not one Philadelphia Eagle guy in the passing game I tweeted it out too, was involved in the NFC Pro Bowl. Not one skilled guy. AJ's an alternate. You spent $116 million. You spent $116 million on the 31st ranked passing game. And nobody, well, they missed games because they got hurt. No shit. No shit, because you ran the ball. You were a physical team. Your guys got beat up. They missed games. Wait, you think that's going to improve next year if you keep running the ball the way you do? It's not. Your quarterback will not improve your passing game. He can't. He's not capable. Did you see who the Pro Bowlers were at quarterback? And you're telling me Jalen Hurts. All of you kept telling me, elite. Elite. This guy's not even considered or recognized as a Pro Bowler. Is he an alternate? Elite. You can't even be an alternate with 29. This guy won 13 ball games. How is he not considered? A rookie, Jay Daniels. A journeyman, Sam Darnold. And Jared Goff are the NFC quarterbacks. No Jalen Hurts. Guy won 13 games. Elite. Elite. Oh, my God. Don't tell me that guy. Stop telling me and yourselves that he had a good year. He didn't. Jalen Hurts has not had a good year. Nobody on the planet thinks that but you and Philly. Nobody. Nobody thinks that. Come on, Wishbone. Damn like button. The Jalenites pumper, where are you when I need you? Again, I saw somebody go like this. Silz, Mahomes didn't make it. Once again, don't ever put the word Mahomes and Hurts together. Okay? Don't ever do that. That guy's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Those things, again, their passing game is not that hot this year. Okay? They're not. But he's 15-1 and going to go for another Super Bowl. Remember something. That's a championship organization. You're not. Players care more about all pros and Pro Bowl Silz. That's not true. Then why is C.J. Gardner-Johnson bitching about not being a Pro Bowler? Hey, by the way, hey, C.J., like Lane said, I thought you had a bigger goal, and that was Super Bowl. He's crying on his Instagram about fucking not making the Pro Bowl. Oh, yeah, okay. How come I'm not a pro? You're like, wait a minute here. I thought there were bigger fish to fry. Not according to Gardner Johnson. He's pissed off he didn't make the Pro Bowl. Elite. Dual threat. Holy shit. Dual threat's not even on an alternate list. That's absolutely awesome. And I agree with you, AJ. Gardner Johnson's not a Pro Bowler. He played half the season that was suspect. The other half, I thought he played. Actually, I don't even think he played the other half well. I think he played the last month of the season well. Okay? Elite. I can't get over that. Now, one Philadelphia Eagle, you spent $116 million for what? The 31st ranked passing game. Hurts got snubbed. No. Hurts is a doorman this year to the Pro Bowl. How you doing? You guys want to be seated? Okay? This guy's like a valet. Over here. Over here, Saquon. Over here, Saquon. Over here, Saquon. Yeah. All right, let's get to the real topic here. Please hit the like button. By the way, Eagles that made it. Saquon Barkley, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Jalen Carter. By the way, Zach Bond's not a starter. Fred Warner is. Okay, so just so you know, do I think that Zach had a better year than Fred Warner? Yeah. He did. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Okay? It's not. Oh, and for the record, Quinyon Mitchell will not be the Rookie of the Year defensively. Jared Verse made the Pro Bowl team. Okay? He made the Pro Bowl. He's not an alternate. He made the Pro Bowl. He will be your defensive Rookie of the Year. That is a stone-cold lead pipe lock that he is going to be the defensive Rookie of the Year for the Rams. Stone-cold lead pipe lock that he will win the defensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL, Jared Verse. Okay? So that's what that means and how that looks. Okay? Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what. A couple guys in here, I think if he would have had 3 or 4 interceptions, that may have made that conversation a little bit better for him. I do. I think it would have helped him if he would have had a couple picks. Okay? Now, let's get to the real topic. You know what I'm doing right now? You ready? I'm getting a seatbelt. I hope you guys do too. Here you go. Soft. Remember the word I told you to remember? Some of you are soft as hell. This is fucking football. Why can't you have both? A Super Bowl and a record. What are you afraid of? How many people in here tell Zander, what are you afraid of the drug? No, I'm not afraid of nothing. How come you can't have it all? What kind of gladiator mentality is that? What kind of football attitude is that? Resting guys, afraid of people being hurt. I hate the fucking word afraid. I don't want to risk. That's what football is. You risk everything when you take your steps onto a field every single time you play a game. Risk. There's risk everywhere. Practice, games. Risk. How about playing with a mentality that no matter what it is, we're going to win? Can I tell you, I've just learned something. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zander. I just learned something about your 2017. That football team fucking wasn't afraid of shit. 22, 24. You're afraid of getting hurt. That team didn't give a shit about injuries because they were tougher. Your 17 team was tougher than this team by far. tougher. They didn't care who got hurt. They didn't care if they lost a Hall of Fame left tackle. They didn't care if they lost an MVP quarterback. They didn't care if they lost a linebacker. They didn't give a shit. They just went out and played and beat Brady and Belichick. They are tougher. Here's your mentality. Let me go ask my owner what's best for my team. Your coach has no balls. Wentz was favored over Foles. What are you talking about? Why? Because of the draft pedigree? Silz speaks truth. I want a pocket passer. Hurts. Women weaken legs. I like it. Okay? This is your mentality. Let me go ask my owner what's best for my team. He has no backbone and he has no balls. You think Dan Campbell fucking talked to his owner about playing on Monday? There was nothing to play for. Except what? Winning. What did he say? Hey, you cross your fingers, you hope nothing happens. You just get out there and we're going to play hard all the time. The difference between the Lions and the Eagles, they're tougher than you. Not as players. Organizationally, they have a tougher mentality. The Lions are tougher than you. They're tougher because they think tougher. It was on display. I cringed when I watched that video of Saquon Barkley wanting to break the record. And I never realized what a mouthpiece Lane Johnson has become. Holy shit. Talk about a company guy. Bob Lang hard at work. They'll be changing the narrative over the next couple days here so that everyone will be on board that, hey, it's best we sit. They don't believe that. Nobody believes that. You saw it in Barkley's face. He wanted to break the record. The team wanted to break the record, but the owner thought he knew what was better. That's why you're not winning the Super Bowl this year. I am 1,000% convinced you're not winning the Super Bowl. You know why? You don't think like a championship organization. You're soft. I don't give a shit what sports writer says. I don't care what they think is right. I know what's right. I'll give you an insight on how Coach Johnson coached the Dallas Cowboys back in the day. And Reyes, I don't give a fuck what you think. I know it worked, and I saw it. Do you know when Jimmy was the head coach of the Cowboys, they had full gear practices all the way through December. And you know why they did that? It kept them mentally and physically sharp. There were no resting of players in practice. There was none of that. They were full gear and full practice and full contact Wednesdays and Thursdays all the way to the Super Bowl. And that's why they built a team that mauled teams. They weren't worried about injury. They were trying to strive. When you're trying to, let me ask you something here. Let's do this. When you're striving for greatness, don't you think it comes with a cost and a sacrifice? Don't you? Or do you think you can be cautious? Zander, listen, look at some of these assholes in here. Look at some of these people in here. You've never touched greatness then, or at least strive for it. You can't strive for greatness being cautious. If Saquon does play and he gets hurt or cheap-shotted, you better keep that same energy, but I think it's a team moral thing. Saquon did look sad. Dude, when Tom Brady got hurt and they put Drew Bledsoe in, and he got hurt in the playoff game, and they had to go back to Bledsoe for the AFC Championship game. And then Belichick made the hard decision. Instead of sticking with the veteran, he went with the younger Brady. to go to the Super Bowl and win it. Okay? It was next guy up mentality. You didn't know who Tom Brady was in his first 3 years. You had no idea who he was. You had no idea who he was. We're running through everyone's teeth this playoffs. No, you're not. You're not tough enough mentally. Your players are. Your organization holds you back from greatness with this weak-ass mentality and gladiator non-attitude. It's unbecoming. It's disrespectful. Here, let me give you another example of that. How would you like to be told this? Think of this, Zander, and everybody. How would you like to be told this? So this guy's on the cusp of, he's going to get it. He would have gotten it. I believe that with all my heart. 101 game, 101 yards, he would have got that. How would you like to be told this by your owner? Hey, the 2K club is good enough for you. Be happy and be satisfied. We're not going for something else. This is not like going for the rushing title for a single season. This is going for an ultimate record in NFL annals. This is an all-time record. It also sets a mentality in your locker room that we want it all. We want the records, the admiration, the Super Bowl, everything. Don't you strive to be great and to be the greatest? How do you think this would have looked if Barkley would have had the all-time single-season rushing mark and you win the Super Bowl? You'll go down as one of the greatest teams of all time. You're not mentally tough. You know why? Because you don't have mentally tough people making proper decisions for your team. And most notably, your head coach is weak. The players want it. What happens if he breaks his leg in the first snap? Fuck it. Next guy up. For the record, with that old line, I'll take my chances. Wait a minute. You guys just indicted your quarterback. You have Jalen Hurts. Or don't you? Wait a minute. How about this? Well, don't you have Jalen Hurts? You're paying him $50 million. You mean to tell me you're more worried about Saquon Barkley getting hurt, and if he goes hurt, your chances of winning the Super Bowl are the shit? I thought you had Jalen Hurts. I thought you had Jalen Hurts. I thought you had Hurts. Thought he was elite. Elite guys overcome that stuff, don't they? I thought you had Jalen Hurts. I see. So it's Barkley or not. Is that what the organization's telling you? If that guy gets hurt, Hurts can't do it. Okay. Case closed. You've got so much star power that you don't utilize. It's disgusting. If Saquon goes down, I thought your star in the huddle was your quarterback. Obviously not. Dual threat. Give me a break. Okay? Dude, this is a shitty attitude. Your owner made the call on what's best for your football team. Coaching the team from the owner's box. Once again, you'll never win the Super Bowl. No fucking way will you win the Super Bowl. Let me show you something that's even more to my point. After the Minnesota Vikings lost their first-round pick in J.J. McCarthy, they thought their season was over because all we had was journeyman Sam Darnold. That's all we had. We really didn't have anything else. We're going to kind of be wobbling around. They just gave Justin Jefferson $36 million. They didn't really think anything of the Minnesota Vikings. What did Kevin O'Connell do? He took a backup journeyman quarterback, and you know what he did with it? He's fighting for home field advantage, and you ain't. Next man up. All I got to say is if we don't getting to the Super Bowl, I'm going to be pissed. They have to win it now. Oh, that's my next topic. They're not saying I didn't want him to play, but as you as a player and your ex-teammates had a chance to do, think players would target him and not get it? No. I'll tell you what, the New York Giants, you really think the Giant guys who have great respect for Saquon Barkley, one thing I'll tell you about 99% of the players in the league, everybody knows it's a brotherhood and nobody is trying to blow anyone's knee out that has any kind of common sense to them. They would play as hard as they possibly could. You saw the first game with Dexter Lawrence and the great sportsmanship that those two guys had. Dexter Lawrence and Saquon Barkley love one another. Okay? Look at this. Smart move by Nick. Doing what? Parking cars? Who in their right mind? Hey, does anybody in here think Nick Sirianni made that call to sit Saquon Barkley? Please tell me you're not as fucking idiot, much of an idiot as this guy. Please tell me that you don't believe that Nick Sirianni made this call. Okay? Tell me. Tell me you don't believe Nick made this call. Please show Spike he's an asshole. Okay? How do you strive? Get this. How do you strive for greatness? Being cautious. Have you ever done anything in your life that you wanted and were cautious doing it? You contradict your own lives. Hey, if you can't get the rushing record, how are you going to win a Super Bowl? If you're cautious about a stupid record, how are you going to win in New Orleans or even get to New Orleans? I think it sets a bad attitude. You won that championship and that Super Bowl championship with a dog mentality. Didn't you guys have dog mask? All that dog mentality shit? That was an attitude team. This is a protective team. Cautious. You should make t-shirts. The Eagles are cautious. Cautious. Man, now I know it. Now I know why you're under Jeffrey Lurie 1-2 in Super Bowls. You have a cautious mentality. You don't play people in the preseason. You rest guys during the year. You don't strive for greatness. You play to be really good. But that last bit is what wins it. I heard it all yesterday, and it was embarrassing. The soft mentality that you have in your front office. And in the media, it's even more softer. Holy shit. About them Buckeyes, Silz, lost to Michigan. Man, cautious. That's it. Be cautious. That's how you get beat. Being cautious. Dude, if my team went out there and played their ass off every single fucking play, guy got hurt, next guy came up, man, you have no regrets because you gave it your all. And you went after everything that was in front of you. Picking and choosing, you can't pick and choose to be great. It comes with a sacrifice and a price to pay. Holy shit. So most of you won't know what I'm talking about. So Doug said, F the owner and the front office and won the Super Bowl by his own terms. I'm not talking what I don't understand what you said. Well, let me ask you this, Khalid. This is a good comment here. Hey, Khalid, do you think the analytics team would have went for Philly? How many people think when Foles went over and looked at Doug Peterson and said, why don't we run Philly? In a crucial part of the game, what do you think Julian and his bookworms and his CPAs or glorified analytic guys would have said? What do you think they would have said? Can't run that play. What did Doug do? Run it. That's saying fuck you, analytics. That's a coach with balls. That's his postseason record versus Knicks. Woke mentality. Lori's softer than Mr. Softy. It was embarrassing yesterday. I think it's really safe. You know, the organization's not going to play these guys. They're going to sit them. You saw Barkley's expression. His family. How about this? Barkley's family wanted it. We're not talking about like a single season rushing yardage total where you're the rushing champion for the year. That shit I don't care about either. We're talking about a 40-year record that everyone knows. Games played, touchdowns in the season, what have you. There's very few NFL records that are known because of what and how the NFL has changed the game. Everyone knows that. You know why? Here's another record that will never be touched. You know what won't be touched? Ricky Henderson's stolen base mark. They don't steal bases anymore. They just strike out and hit homers. Never touched again. 1,400 stolen bases, never approached. You'll never see that. You may never see 300 wins again by a pitcher. So when these opportunities come, it's a time of greatness. You sit in your backyard as a kid and you dream of running by yourself saying, I'm going to break Eric Dickerson's record or Emmitt Smith's all-time rushing record. And you do it pretending you're going to cross the goal line in the Super Bowl doing it. All your childhood dreams and shit that you do are set around certain individual goals and obviously team goals. Hey, most of the time, team goals are unattainable because you're not on good football teams. That's why individual achievements, they matter to players. Here, I'll give you a great example. How many times did Zander in the last couple of days say, I don't see Josh Allen playing 4 straight games of great football to win a Super Bowl? Why? He didn't have a good team around him. No shit. No shit. But an MVP in the league? Have faith, dude. You're the same guy who said Washington would win the East. I know, man. Hey, I came up 2 games short. I did say that. I'm sure you thought that Washington would win 11 games this year, too. Oh, good guy. Don't worry. My quarterback, though, Jaden Daniels, made the Pro Bowl. Did yours? Nope. Your quarterback's still trying to throw for 300 or 3,000 yards in a pass-happy league with 2 $25 million receivers. Let me know when he does it, when he gets to 4K. We're going on 3 years now that I said he wouldn't do it. Hey, by the way, it's now 3 years that I said Jalen Hurts would never throw for 4K. I mean, we're going the other way now. Now pretty soon somebody's saying, hey, there's no way he's going to throw for $3,000. I mean, we're going the other way now. Silz, Barkley earned the right to go for the record. This organization bet it all on a Super Bowl win. I'm going to get to that topic here. The record instills the mindset of attaining a goal. Absolutely. The team can focus on what's next. Get this, man. And Bob, here's my problem with it. It is right. It's an attitude. You're afraid of shit? Of what? Injury? Welcome to the NFL. I saw the 17 team overcome all kinds of obstacles and win. Jesus criminy, man. Philadelphia is the greatest example of overcoming issues and winning. That means to me that the front office doesn't even really truly believe what they did in 17. You're being overcautious with a team that's maybe more talented than your 17 team. That means you don't believe what you did in 17. That was a mindset. It was a player mindset, a coaching mindset. There is no difference. There is no question. The difference in mindsets for that 17 team and this team is all directed by the front office. The front office coaches like they are glorified fucking CPAs. Bookworms. That team was coached by men and played by men. I don't care. Hey, get this. I got to tell you, I know most of you are not going to agree with me. And I expect that. How would you know? How would you know? Stop it, Silz. You'd be the first one to diss Nick if Lane got hurt blocking for Barkley trying to get the record. I would not. We're not talking about playing a nothing game for a nothing goal. You completely are not getting the historical part of this. I'm not talking about another Sunday. I'm talking about a historical Sunday. Nick went to ask, can he play him for the second, for the record? And the owner said, ask me no dumb shit like that shit him on. What's this? Nick went to go ask, can he play him for the second, for the record? And the owner said, don't ask me no dumb shit like that. Sit him or you're fired. No control. Yeah, sit him. That's right. You're right. Ramir. Nick probably wanted to play. The owner came in and said no. Okay? Get John on to talk sense to Silz. He owns Silz. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck what John says. I could care less when it comes to how I think about playing a ball game. I really don't. John's a great reporter. He covers the team. I don't give a shit about covering a team. I'm telling you how to play the game. But by the way, I played for a Hall of Fame coach. I played for a college and an NFL Hall of Fame coach. 3 of them. I missed some supers, Zander. If we could throw those up. By the way, no disrespect. I think John does a great job. I told you. We're proud to have him. Need you for a consultant or coach. You don't sugarcoat shit. Being a champion, you can't sugarcoat it. Hey, Eric, I'm talking to you like Buddy would talk to you. What are you afraid of, son? Getting hurt? If you have any kind of fear in your heart, you ain't winning a Super Bowl. T-Bone, Big Silz, you are, as usual, so right. Sitting out games is BS. Champs, heroes run from battle or competition. They don't. But they charge ahead. No ducking, no hiding, never. Our players, our management, fucking pussies. I don't think the players are, T-Bone. I really don't. I don't think the players. I think the players wanted to do it. Hey, and by the way, when it was first asked, I heard Malata say he wanted to do it. Okay? Nick went to go and ask, can he play him? Get the record. And the owner said, don't ask me no dumb shit like that. Sit him or you're fired. Absolutely no control. Absolutely true. Barkley saved the Eagles. God help the Eagles. And I have no Super Bowl. I don't believe you're winning a Super Bowl. You don't have the mentality to win it. I am 1,000% convinced you are not a tough organization. You got tough players. They're great players. Your management and your quarterback hold you back. Can you imagine how it will be when Laurie's son takes over? Analytics, laughing my ass off. Sammy, it's already there now. Said after the single game title, he wants a ring. Yeah. Because what? Hey, wait a minute. To Twiz's point, why does the owner want to sit the players in the final game? What was the reasoning? Whatever the reasoning is, will somebody post it? Somebody post why the owner doesn't want to play the players for the record. Tell me what was the reasoning? What was the reasoning that they stated? Hey, Reyes, I'm not expecting you to understand what I'm talking about. You could take this conversation off, dog. Okay, I'm not expecting you to get it. As a matter of fact, I would expect half of the people watching this not to get it. Okay, winning a Super Bowl, rest. Rest. Okay. Let's see, what else? Somebody tell me why they're not playing this weekend for a historical record. What is it? You won't say it, will you? Look at the people in here who won't say it. Say it. Why are they sitting the Eagle players this week and not allowing Barkley to go for the record? Okay? Why are they doing it? Is Lurie giving a refund since he's sitting everyone? Ooh. Oh. Hey, I hope some certain players aren't at incentives in the final week when it comes to playing percentages too. That's a good call there, Anthony. Well, fear. Fear? What other reasonings? Okay. What other reasonings? Super Bowl. How the fuck are you going to get to the Super Bowl if you're afraid? That contradicts that guy. This guy thinks you're locked and sealed and ready to go to the Super Bowl, and you're afraid. I mean, how can you be a super? Hey, let me ask you this. Did you guys sit anybody in 17? How did that thing play itself out? Our team doesn't seem like it was scared or anything. By the way, you guys won't say it. I'll say it for you, since you don't have the balls to say it. You're afraid of somebody getting hurt. And you know what the reporters in Philly will say? Silio's an asshole and stupid. I would turn around and say, well, if you're afraid of getting hurt, you're afraid of playing football, how the fuck are you going to win a Super Bowl? It's one thing to sit down with a pen and a piece of paper and write about what you're watching. It's another thing to actually do it. Utterly pathetic. Contradicting what the players want to do, too. It's obvious, man. The players want to do this. And the ownership came in and said no and told Nick, who has no backbone and no autonomy or no authority what's best for his team. This is how you know that guy is not a true NFL coach. Goes along to get along. Not allowed to do your job. You know what I really believe in my heart? I really believe that Nick went up there and said, I'd like him to get it. And I believe that GM, Howie, and the owner said no. Because this is a non-football playing decision. This is a person that made a decision like this that's not a non-football guy. You know the difference between Nick Sirianni and Dan Campbell? Dan's a former player. You got people in that front office with Chris Spielman and Barry Sanders and Brad Holmes and all those guys. Those guys don't look at the game the same way the Eagles do. Those guys have done things up in a place that had no history in the last 60 years in football and have changed the dynamic up there. Because why? They're just tough. They fucking played a 49er game that had no bearing on anything with all their starters. Barkley's spirit was broken. You could see it. Yes, because you know why? Sydney. Let me ask you something, Sydney. Let's do this. Okay. Do you think the 2105 would have kind of smoothed over lost time in New York? Do you think that it would have smoothed over some of the hard years that he had in New York with no help, nobody putting good players around him? And it would have at least done this. If he never makes the Hall of Fame or he never wins the Super Bowl, you know what at least he could have said? For 1 year in the NFL, I was the best there ever was. How many times in your lives have you ever had a chance to say, I was the best that there ever was? We all, as athletes, want to do this one day. I was the best that ever played. You know how rare and only God put his hand on those certain players a little longer than the others that have that a chance to be that guy. Now he's one of 9 guys. Tremendous. How about being the guy? Barkley will never make the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's like 80th in rushing and total rushing yards. There's 20 players ahead of him that have better accolades than him. Here, I'll give you one. Guy that was a New York Giant. 11,000 rushing yards. Been on this show, O.J. Anderson, Super Bowl MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time rushing champion, NFL Rookie of the Year. He's not in the Hall of Fame. What has Barkley done in his career that was remotely anything close to that? Nothing. 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 We better hope the NFC Championship or Super Bowl don't come down to a situational football. Nick doesn't have enough timeouts to stop and call up Jeff to find out what's best to do. Jeffrey, just suit, not a true fan. You guys think that Saquon Barkley's going to the Hall of Fame and he's got nothing on his resume that remotely says Hall of Famer? Nothing. 2105 would. There's nothing. 2,000. Jamal Lewis got 2,000 yards. Chris Johnson got 2,000 yards. That's not a surefire Hall of Fame ticket. Not even remotely close. Nicky should have asked Howie at a fireside chat. Hey, let's take a look right now. Let's do this. All you guys in here. Saquon Barkley's great. By the way, all supers go to the top. You guys know that here. All-time rushing leaders. All-time rushing leaders. Time rushing leaders. Let's see where he's ranked. Let's see the guys ahead of him that aren't in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What's he, 27? So you're assuming that for the next 27, 28, 29, 30, next 5 years, he's going to gain 6,000 yards. See where that puts him if he's lucky, correct? Okay. Okay, all-time number is 18,000 yards. That's Emmett. He'll never get anywhere near that. Let's see where Barkley is right now. Barkley's 65th in rushing right now. He's not playing this week, so he's got 7,200 yards. Say he gets $2,000 next year. That's 9. Say he gets 1,000 after that. That's 10. Say he gets another. By the time he's 32, he has another 2. That puts him at 12.5. Okay, let's take a look at this. Fred Taylor, 11,000 yards, not in. Steven Jackson, not in. Corey Dillon, not in. LaShawn McCoy, not in. Ricky Waters, not in. Tiki Barber, not in. Marshawn Lynch, maybe. O.J. Anderson, not in. I mean, you're out of your minds. Can Eagles change the mind, or is it set in stone? I don't know. There's nothing set in stone in that place. Silz, Laurie does not believe the ROI for the record is worth it. The risk versus reward. It's a boardroom call. I don't believe Howie was in on this. Howie would want his free agent to gain the record. Probably so. This is all Laurie. By the way, we got Angelo on tomorrow. Today at 4:30, we have Battle Royale. Mark Holmes and Philly 500 will be. That'll be at 4:30. Okay? He will never make it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Wasted years in New York. It's wasted years in. Hey, by the way, he's got an uphill battle. He's got 7,000 yards right now. You're assuming he's not going to get hurt. Okay? And because all running backs, of course, you know, they keep their tread and they get better as they get older. Yeah, okay. Well, there's like a handful of those guys. Okay? Once again, where my conversation goes is back to it's not about Barkley. It's about your weak-ass mentality. You don't have a champion's mentality. You have a cautious mentality. And this is why you get right to the edge and you fail. There's been more disappointments in Jeffrey Lurie's ownership. John disagrees because he thinks hanging around the rim's cool. There's something to that. I agree. Dallas Cowboys hanging around the rim. Last 3 years, they won 12 ball games. They hang around the rim, kind of. They get beat in the postseason. So do you. You just go a game further. What's the difference in getting beat in the Super Bowl or the NFC title game and not bringing it at home and getting beat in a wild card? What, you're a better loser? Okay. Congratulations. You're a better loser than Dallas. What if he got back-to-back 2K? Yeah, because that's been done before. You're a better loser than Dallas. Okay, I mean, by the way, I got a question for you. Why are you fighting me on having a champion's mentality? Why are you fighting me on it? Because you fight yourselves, that's why. I get it. You don't want to take the last step because it's either over the ledge or to greatness. I get it. Why would anybody fight a conversation? You know, I've brought this up before, okay, about a flashcard. I swear to you, I'm going to show it. I was given this flashcard by Andy Robustelli, and Lombardi wrote it. And when he got to the Packers, and Bob, you've heard me say this. When he got to the Packers in 59, he wrote this out and passed it to every player on the team. I have it framed. Gentlemen, we are going to learn here as a Green Bay Packer organization. They had won one game when he took over. To strive for perfection and doing everything we can to be perfect at every single thing we do. Running to drills, grabbing your water, working out, off-season conditioning. We're going to do everything to perfection, knowing full well we'll never reach it. So then what we're going to learn to do is live with greatness. And I have that. You strive for the Sun Bowl, you're going to the toilet bowl. You strive for M. Reyes' 13 wins, come up short every year. I'm reading some of the comments, and I'm a little disappointed. Let's check this guy out. You won here's a prediction for you. You won't win the Super Bowl, but you get 14 wins. Congrats. Zander's going to join us at 3:30. Please hit the like button. Do me a favor. Give me a total where we are right now. Okay? I'm a little disappointed today. Silz, if you give Barkley those yards, 32, the Super Bowl this year, the 2005 rushing record, Barkley could warrant serious consideration for the Hall. If he gets the Super Bowl and he had the 2105, yes. 123, guys, please. Let's see if we can get that up a little higher. I'd like to get to 200 by the end of this hour. Please, all supers go to the top. By the way, Bob, I want to make it very clear. Some people think that I don't think he's a Hall of Fame player. He is. Or let me restate it. He's a Hall of Fame talent. His years were just wasted in New York. Hey, Bob, is there anything wrong saying that? Let me ask you this, Bob. Do you think that Steve Young's years in Tampa were wasted? The only difference is, thank God, Bill Walsh saved him. Or he would have been a what? Probably cut in a couple of years. He would have been a nobody, and he wouldn't have had any opportunity being a Hall of Fame player or win a Super Bowl, right? Do you think Steve Young's career would have been altered if he had stayed in Tampa? Instead of going to the 49ers and sitting behind Joe Montana and learning the system. Bob, how do you think Steve Young's career would have been? You think he'd have been a Hall of Famer? I don't. He was an absolute turd in Tampa Bay. A turd. Okay? We're gonna make this. By the way, in this hour here, we're gonna do like my All-Pro team. We're gonna pick our All-Pro team here. Okay? No, there's no gamesmanship here. You could see it in Barkley's face. There's no gamesmanship. Okay? Here's what's happened now. And I swear to God, like I said at the beginning of this year, you failed at improving the passing game. I told you, remember all your predictions? 4,700 yards, not just Zander, all of you. By the way, I don't really think that he's wrong, Zander, because everyone would have assumed with the talent you have in the huddle that it would have been an iconic passing year. Okay? Especially the money that you spent. You know what? People go like this to me all the time. Well, Silz, we're winning games. Well, that's not how you built the roster and constructed the payroll. Remember, payroll and the limitations in your roster, it's one of the reasons why you've got issues this weekend when it comes to who to sit and not to sit. You're limited in roster. Because why? You're paying people. People, like fans, don't want to put money as part of how you construct the roster. That's where Howie's brilliance is constructing the roster based off of the salaries. And how you've built the football team is ass backwards. You spent all that money and got nothing in return. And let me ask you something here, guys. You think you got your cash return and the amount of money that you, like, say you bought a watch or a house or a car. Do you really think that you got your investment back or your money well spent when you're looking at $116 million on 3 guys and you got Dick in return? Do you really think that you got your money's worth? Of course, people in here will say yes. Because why? 13 wins. No, that's not how you got those 13 wins. You got those 13 wins because of a $10 million running back and a fabulous O-line. Look at the Pro Bowlers. The reason that you're 13 wins, look at a Pro Bowl team. Your running back's a starter. You got Cam Jurgens. You got Lane. You've got Mulata as an alternate. You got Landon in there. It wasn't because of anything in your passing game that made you 13 wins. It was everything to do with that was not constructed and put together in the run game. You guys are making it sound like you're 13 wins because of Jalen and the run and the pass game. That has nothing to do with where you are right now. You're one-dimensional, and you know it. Little Jeffrey doesn't get it. That's what he's oodling, is anti-Philly. Getting this record will both help Barkley's HOF and will juice Philly fans through the playoffs. Dude, it's just about a mentality. Here's what I don't like about where you are as an organization. The word safe sucks. The word afraid sucks. The word precaution sucks. Tell me this. Nick doesn't coach with precaution. Why is he taking precautions now? He's at the NFL for entertainment purposes. What is more entertaining than breaking the all-time rushing record? I'm hoping they change their mind. Thank you, Warfighter. You think Joe Burrow will stay with the Bengals, if the owner keeps being cheap in that O-line? You want to hear something about, hey, I'll tell you this, Khalid. I think it's this number. If Joe Burrow throws for 59 yards this weekend and has 3 touchdowns, I think he's like the 4th guy to ever go for 50,000 passing yards and 45 touchdowns. And Mike Brown sucks as an owner. It's just that's wasted. Yay, you want to know what a wasted Hall of Fame career is? It's in Cincinnati right now. And he's been to a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's career is being wasted in Cincinnati. You know why? There's not a commitment to win. There's a commitment to sometimes win. I understand we haven't had a bye since week 5, but you don't think this team can get the record in a half or 3 quarters? I do. Let me ask you this. How many games do you guys think you sat out total by not playing your players in the 4th quarter? Game and a half? Right? Just soft. Please hit the like button. Silz, you would think that a team that calls themselves the gold standard, that capturing a single season rushing record would be a nice achievement. I guess Laurie is fool's gold. I don't get that guy, man. This guy does 9 out of 10 things right. He just won't do the final thing. Get out of the way. Your owner's in the way of ultimate success. He creates success, but he's in the way of ultimate success. Jerry Jones is in the way of ultimate success. You know why? Jimmy didn't allow him. I would trade the house for Burrow. Incredible player. Any game, any time of season, pre, regular, and post, a player can get hurt. Resting a player has no guarantee that the player won't get injured the following week. Must play if healthy enough. That's fucking football. Champs always find a way. It's like a bog. T, thank you. T. It's like Ali being in a fight. You know what made Ali great? Think about what made Muhammad Ali great. He's my idol in sports. It's Ali. You know what made Ali great? Every guy that beat him when he was in his prime, he went back and beat. He wasn't afraid to go fight them dudes. He went back and fought them all. Every guy that beat him had him on the ropes. Norton breaks his jaw, comes back and beats him. Frazier beats him in 1, comes back and beats him in 2 other epic fights. Never was afraid to fight anybody. Adversity, constantly. I just admire that. I just admire that. Facing your fears. Shit, man. Who beat me? Well, let me go fight him again. Dude, there's certain people in sports history, and there's certain teams in sports history that don't take no shit from anybody. Hey, again, some of the people that are in here fighting back with me here, I'm not really going to fight you. Because how would you know what I'm talking about? You wouldn't. That's okay. I'm just trying to just give you a little bit of my world. Playing for a championship coach. You know, it's funny. When I'm around certain coaches, and maybe I shouldn't compare people to like Coach Landry and Jimmy and guys like that. Okay, maybe I shouldn't, because those guys were just different dudes. And then you hang around a Mike McCoy, or you hang around some of these other guys, and when you guys tell me you think this guy's a great coach, I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know. There's certain intangibles you see about certain coaches. Like, do I think Kyle Shanahan is a great coach? I think he's a great play caller. I think he's a glorified OC. I think he has fear. Hey, Niner all day. Would you agree with this? The difference between him and his dad coached with a set of balls. He doesn't in tight games. Okay? I think Kyle Shanahan nuts up in tight games. I think Andy has learned because Mahomes has helped him learn. Greatest thing ever happened to Andy Reid is being around Patrick Mahomes. Because Patrick Mahomes has that kind of Joe Montana mentality. I don't give a shit where I'm at. I'm just going to go out and play ball. We're going to win. Still sorry. I have an off topic. It's all good. It's bothered me for a year. Forever. Why does the NFL make the bye week fair for teams? Week 8, 9. Week 8, all NFC divisional games. AFC, middle of the season, fair for all. It's a great comment. Personally, T-Bone, what I think they need to do, and I think they'll do that when they implement the 18th game, I think you're going to have 2 byes. And I think that's going to be something that will be more convenient to helping out, like, the Eagles would have a bye in week 5, and they would have a bye potentially in week 12, where that would help them out more, or week 14, something like that. How many teams would like to have bye weeks right now heading into the playoffs, especially teams that are going to go into the playoffs? Now, I happen to think also that teams that have above 13 wins should get a bye. I don't think it should be divisional seeding like it is. I don't like the divisional seeding. Why should Minnesota or Detroit, one of those teams, have to be dropped in the 5th hole? Because why? They didn't win their division? And yet there was a team that went out there. Now, Tampa can make an argument. Well, I beat Philly and Detroit and won my division. Head-to-head competition, I get that. So that makes me think Tampa should be in there in that 3 hole or 4 hole I think they're in, if they end up holding out and winning the NFC South, because they have beaten people on their schedule. But I'm a big believer you put the 7 best teams in by record, and you look at who they played, strength of schedule, and then you rank them like they do in the colleges. And sit there and go like this. So like Minnesota and Detroit, somebody's going to have to be a wild card team. And get this, the Buccaneers could be 9-8 and get into the playoffs. I get it. Shit, man, you could like the Buccaneers did a couple of years ago. You could be like 8-9 and make it into the playoffs and win your division. And then you're seeded 4th. Okay? I'm with you. Could you have Coach Johnson or Dungy talk to Nick? Look, Nick doesn't, about what? This came from the owner. Boy, I'm really disappointed in Lane Johnson. What a mouthpiece. Good old corporate boy now. I guess so. What's best for the team? Well, where were you last year, Lane, when the team was melting down and they needed you in your leadership? Didn't you have goals last year too? You were still fighting for home field advantage when you guys were in your Chernobyl meltdown. Where the fuck were you last year? Now here you parachute in and try to pretend now that, we have bigger goals to fry and bigger goals to go after. Didn't you have one last year when you were 10-2 or 10-3? And then the nuclear meltdown happened? Where was your leadership then when they needed you the most? They don't need your leadership now. They needed your leadership a year ago when you were melting down. Those are false comments to me. Hey, dude, don't judge a guy's character when things are going good. Judge him when shit's going bad. How does he react? Ask yourself that. How does a guy react when shit's hitting the fan? That's your 17 team. Shit was hitting the fan. And the one common thing you had in the room, you had Doug. Now I know why Doug had these Monday morning press conferences or conversations with the owner, because the owner didn't believe what he was doing. And that's why they're trying to erase everything Doug has done and giving it to Howie and all the credit to Howie on that 7. Howie gets very little credit, in my opinion. That was all balls. Hey, do your job. Doing what? Drafting people and bringing players in? That's your job. You did your job and you want to be glorified for it? Fuck that. I'll tell you what, for a guy, Howie Roseman, who has you guys glaze over, this guy has really bombed in the playoffs with these so-called great teams he's built. You guys keep telling me he's built these great rosters. Where the fuck's the titles? Like in Kansas City. I hear people on my own network and other people in the market going that Howie's the best general manager in football. How's he the best general manager in football when Les Snead's got 2 Super Bowls? Eric DeCosta has 2 Super Bowls. Brett Veach has 3 Super Bowls. How's that possible? Nick Caserio's got 4. How's that possible? By the way, you don't see any of the correlation between Nick Caserio and Houston being built up now as a good team, and look at New England. You know what the one common denominator is there? It's not just that Belichick's not in the building in New England. Nick Casario's not there anymore. He was the general manager and head of scouting and head of player development in New England. Where's he now? He's in Houston. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. Look at this guy. Stroud stunk it up. Stroud's going to playoffs this year, second year in a row. I mean, and he's a franchise quarterback. Let's see what Stroud did this year. He said Stroud stunk it up, says Twiz. Let's take a look at it. If he stunk it up. Let's see what stink it up means to him. So C.J. Stroud threw for 20 touchdowns this year, 3,600 yards, and had a 62 completion percentage. All better numbers than anything your guy did. He outplayed Hurts. He stunk it up. What Hurts do? Threw for 2,900 yards with 2 elite wide receivers. If C.J. Stroud sucks and stunk it up, what it hurts? C.J. Stroud stunk it up. If that's your metric, that he stunk it up, then Hurts was god-awful. Why am I comparing him? Because that's what we do. Guys who lead teams. No, your metric is stunk it up. Before I get Zander in here, by the way, I'm going to name probably my all-pro team. Not Pro Bowl team, my all-pro team when Zander's on with me here, because I was going to do that here in a minute. This is what's happened now, and this is where we're going here. Today on January 2nd, day before my birthday. If you don't win a Super Bowl, I'm coming completely off the top rope on you. There will be no relentless day off until September of next year on your failures. You have arguably, you've told me all year, the best roster, better than 22, better than 17, better than 04. Okay? You've won all these games the last 3 years. You're the number 2 seed. And here's why I'm saying this. Your passing game failed miserably. On this day, January 2nd, all of you are right. It's a non-factor, Silz. Fair enough. Then what you turned around and did is you implemented a red herring in your quest to win a Super Bowl. You know what that is? You started using the words fear, rest, prevention of injury, cautious, caution. You started implementing that mentality in your head coach and your players. Hey, I want you to win the Super Bowl, but we're a little nervous about this week, so we're going to sit everyone. And we're going to be cautious. Like I said, man, thank God nobody had somebody from the Eagle front office on the Columbus's boat. They'd have turned the fucking boat around. I mean, they'd have turned the boat around. I'm not seeing land. I'm not seeing land. That's how he's screaming. Lori's like, Lori'd be the first guy to go, I don't see land. First guy. Columbus would have to throw his ass overboard. throw his ass overboard. Because he'd be like, oh, I don't see land. I don't see land. Oh, my God. This team is putting all the chips. Oh, you all know it's in. They have. You got it, Gabe. Gabe, you should come off the top rope if you don't win the Super Bowl. Better win it or else. Unlike this. Hey, that's right. Hey, Gabe, get this, Gabe. I will look like the biggest dick on the planet if they win the Super Bowl and all the T's and I's were dotted. You can roast me a new one. Deal? Deal? You can roast me a new one. And I won't argue back at all. Fuck this team with this crazy ass head coach. Super Bowl or bust, Marshall. Marshall, you have the intangibles to win it. I want to make that clear. Silz, do you think the Eagles can win the Super Bowl? Yes. Yes. There's nothing on your football team. Here's where I'm at with you. The defense has done it week in and week out. There's no way in the world I could sit here and go, you're not a top 3 defense, and you're probably the best defense week to week in the league. You've shut down Lamar. You've beaten Burrow. You've beaten good quarterbacks this year. Teams like Pittsburgh. Yes, there's no getting around it. None. Marshall, we are at the end here, January 2nd, going into the final couple months of the year now. The excuses are over. There's no bell curve. You're graded harder now. Everything you do will intensify. And that's the way it is. There's no old golly shucks kind of shit here. That's right. Do you know what? Hey, you know what my famous line used to be when I was in college? I'm gonna find it. Time to stop lipping and start hitting. They used to post that quote all the time in the Herald because all week long I would talk shit. Time to stop lipping and start hitting. To stop lipping. See if I can find that. Lipping and start hitting. Used to be a line of mine. I love that line. It was one of my famous fucking lines that I ever had. Yeah, hey. Yep. Time to nut up or shut up. Sure. Let's go. Super Bowl or bust. You know, I turn on not just birds, WIP 97.5. Guys are doing the right thing. Probably. I'd like to fight you. Those are guys you want to fight. The cautious guys. What's Mike Tyson say? Everyone's got a plan until they get fucking punched in the mouth, right? Eagles have a plan until they get punched in the mouth. I don't know. Hey, man, it's probably me. You guys are probably right, wrestling. What's the Jeffrey Lurie words? Hey, did you see Nick? Did you see how disgruntled too Barkley's face was? Yeah, I think my family wanted it more than I did. If that didn't tell you right there, well, my family really wanted it, and so did I. You know why his family wanted it more? Before I bring Zander in, why do you think what would make you think his mom and his family wanted that record more? Why do you think that? Because of all the pain and failure in New York that he went through? And all the disappointments in New York he went through? Do you think that's why his mom and his family wanted that for him? Right? I'm going to do the All-Pro, the very first installment of the National Football Show's All-Pro team. I'm going to